This should have come with a warning. So what happened? They said, yeah, you said, just last week, after we did the trust fall, I went home and did it with my little 8-year-old sister. She was standing on the couch, and here I am, ready to catch her. So 3, 2, 1, and she fell back, landed right on the coffee table, fell right through the glass, and broke it. So here I went, oh no, right? I don't know, how am I going to say to this? Right? So then he said, he went on, and he said, and that's when I knew 2 + 2 = 5 really works. And I said, why? And he said, as soon as I told my mom it was for school, she wasn't mad at all. And that story just goes to show that when you have an impact on someone in the community, whether it's through community service or anything else, it extends far beyond that initial moment when you're first interacting with that person. The next story I want to tell you is about a little girl who was 10 years old, taking part in 2 + 2 = 5 in the very first semester that I started the program. And her name was Jenny. And I remember Jenny very well because if everything else at my time here at Bentley had been a complete and utter catastrophe, and I still had this one story, it would have all been worth it. Now, Jenny, she's in the 4th grade. And I noticed that during the program, she's starting to leave the team and go off on her own in the corner of the gym. Every time I tried to talk to her, she didn't respond to me. Wouldn't even look me in the eye, wouldn't answer me, wouldn't answer any of the other Bentley students that'd be there. And I noticed she wasn't even talking to her teachers. So I'd try to go over to the corner of the gym. Jenny, why don't you come join the team? It's exactly what I was trying to teach, is teamwork, right? But she wouldn't. She kept secluding herself from the activities. So then I started talking to her teachers. And her teacher came up to me and said, Scott, we understand that Jenny's been pulling away from the team activities. We want you to know that, that it's not anything you did or anything. Just kind of let it happen. We want you to know that Jenny is a selective mute. I'd never heard of anything before. So what's that? And the teacher said, well, she won't speak to adults. She won't speak to her teachers. In fact, it was so cute that if a teacher called on her in class, she would answer through one of her friends, and the friend would give the answer for her. She wouldn't speak to us, and it was starting to concern me, but now that I knew this, I just kind of let her go off to the side. So 6 weeks into the program, she's still pulling away from the activities. And we're doing an activity called the human knot. Anybody ever heard of the human knot? I'm sure a number of you have done it. Basically, we're a bunch of people stand in a circle, right, and grab the hands of the people across and then try to untangle themselves as a knot. And so when things go wrong in the 2 + 2 = 5 program, I'll sometimes freeze the activity. Freeze! And let's talk about what's going right, what's going wrong. So we're doing the human knot activity, and they're pulling on each other and screaming over each other. And this is just not working well if I'm trying to teach a lesson of effective communication. So I'm about ready to freeze the activity. Here, literally. And I see over the corner of my eye, here comes Jenny. And I didn't even really think anything of it. She never talked to me. And just as I'm about ready to say freeze, I feel a little tap on my wrist like this. As I look down at her, everyone is shouting over each other. This will never work like this. It's the first time she ever spoke to me. And now I'm speechless. And the whole class is in silence. Well, in the most perfect moment I've ever experienced doing service, the class came up with a solution to the human knot. What if only one person can talk and give directions and everybody else is forced to listen to that one person? And here the class chose Jenny. And Jenny led the team out of the knot. You should have seen the look on her face. It was life-changing for me and for her. And so we continue on the program. Again, it's 10 weeks, so she's participating a little more, saying a little more, and a little more. And because the program is for 4th and 5th graders, I went back to the school again in her 5th grade year. I started talking to her teachers and finding out a little more. You wouldn't believe the change in Jenny. So much more confident in herself, her teacher said. She's doing better in all of her classes. She's talking, she's participating in class. So much confidence, you wouldn't believe. If I only had that one story, everything would have all been worth it. So what am I trying to say here? What's the takeaway? Because clearly 2 + 2 = 5 is not for everyone. What I'm trying to say is, while you're here at Bentley, find something you're passionate about. Try a lot of things at first, and then find a couple that you really are passionate about, and just throw yourself in completely. There's no sense joining 20 different clubs and going to one meeting a month for each one of them. Find a couple and throw yourself in. Take on leadership roles and challenge yourself to grow. And also think about that we can learn from anyone. I learned so much from 10-year-olds. I learned as much from 10-year-olds as I did from all the professors here that I ever had in my classes. Now we reach the time for an activity. I want everybody to just stand up for a second, please. All right. Now, here, we're going to give the instructions, and on the count of 3, we're all going to do it together. Okay. The count of 3, I want you to reach straight up in the air as high as you can. As high as you can. Ready? And hold it there. Ready? 1, 2, 3. As high as you can. Okay, now a little higher, everybody, a little higher. All right, now sit down. When I said a little higher, I saw everyone in the audience a little higher. Even if it were only an inch or two, I saw everybody go up an inch or two. Why didn't you go that high when I said go as high as you can? The point of that activity is we don't know where our boundaries are until we push ourselves to cross them. When someone says, reach as high as you can, go beyond what you really think is as high as you can. That leads me to my next point. How many of you have ever heard the expression A for effort? A lot of you heard A for effort. What do you think of it? I'll tell you what I think. I think that's a bunch of BS. I'll tell you why. Try explaining A for effort to your parents the next time you get a C in managerial accounting. I tried it. It doesn't work.